everyone and welcome back to another Tesla weekly video for today. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend so far. As always, we're going to have a look at the China weekly insured numbers. There's some really interesting topics I want to cover in this video with regards to Tesla, the charging network, the battery business, and then a couple of things related to the lawsuit with regards to the compensation package. We're going to touch on that a bit later on. But first up, I want to touch on the weekly insured numbers. For the week February 19 to 25, the number reached 10,800. That's down 25.6% quarter over quarter, the quarter that is, and down 27.3% versus the 23 Q3 quarter. Now, of course, remember, this year, the Chinese New Year was a bit later than last year, so take all of that into consideration. Overall, it is a really good rebound after that Chinese New Year week. With regards to the model mix here, we can see huge difference, 8.3 thousand Model Ys and just 2.5 thousand Model 3s. So again, we're not really seeing a huge effect, positive effect when it comes to the refresh Model 3. In China, it does seem that Model Y, despite its price tag, is still quite popular. Tesla Giga Shanghai produced 82,564 cars in January, 32,010 Model 3s and 50,554 Model Ys. Higher than wholesale, so inventory rose slightly to 11 days. It's the highest since July 2022. Now, if you calculate this on an annual run rate, you're reaching 1 million. So that's quite nice. Now, of course, we have to keep an eye on those inventory levels. If they continue to go higher and higher despite the price cuts, maybe we should be asking some questions, or maybe because of the rumors of a refreshed Model Y, those things have already been circulating maybe on some channels there. People are maybe a bit holding back, but bear in mind, the Chinese economy, macroeconomic environment isn't the best at the moment. Before continuing, if you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if not, really appreciate that. Want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get a top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. Up next, moving to Europe. So for Europe's best-selling BEV models, the Model Y impressively extended its lead. Even more insane if you consider the price of the models, meaning the difference between the Model Y and everything that comes after that. Overall, BEVs grew 28% from 2022 to 2023, while plug-in hybrids lost 3%. Piloli already provided us with a couple of countries that reported their sales for February. 8 of them had the best February ever. Here's the overview with sales volume and year-to-date growth rates. As you can see, quite nice. And here's an extra two, France and Austria. Look at that bump here in France. Moving on to the lawsuit, the compensation package, and all of that. We've got an even crazier story right now. So the lawyers who voided Elon Musk's pay as excessive want a $6 billion fee. So let me get this straight. First, we sue because we think that the $56 billion compensation package doesn't make sense, it's not fair to shareholders, etc., etc. Now, we want Tesla to pay $6 billion. How does that make any sense? To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's, in my opinion, very close to being a corrupt type of thing, but remains to be seen. I'm sure Elon and Tesla will appeal that decision because, again, you sue and then you do the exact thing that you sued for, meaning shareholders, let's say, got screwed over by that $56 billion compensation package. But now you're okay asking for $6 billion of a fee that eventually shareholders will also pay for it, right? Which doesn't make any sense. And by the way, the compensation package, the shareholders have voted in favor of that compensation package. This whole story, to me, just doesn't make any sense. Now, the three law firms said here, we recognize that the requested fee is unprecedented in terms of absolute size. The fee works out to an hourly rate of $288,888. This is unbelievable. Now remember, the judge, Kathleen McCormick, she is the one that obviously is overseeing the case and will decide on the fee, called Musk's pay unfathomable in her ruling. So, technically speaking, if this is a fair and just ruling, that fee should never pass, right? Because that fee is also ludicrous, unfathomable, or whatever the word was. Remains to be seen what happens. Because if that judge does rule in favor of those lawyers and does say, okay, Tesla needs to pay that $6 billion fee, well, that doesn't sit right with me. Moving on to some more positive news and some news that actually came out of nowhere, and some people were very, very excited. Even some were saying, oh, I'm glad to see Elon Musk reminded himself that he still is the CEO of Tesla, because Elon Musk suddenly came out of nowhere and said, tonight we radically increase the design goals for the new Tesla Roadster. There will never be another car like this, if you could even call it a car. Tesla SpaceX collab, production design complete and unveil end of the year, aiming to ship next year. Could be also at the end of 2025, like the Cybertruck. I think it has a shot at being the most mind-blowing product demo of all times. He then also said that 0 to 60 can be done in under a second, and that is the least interesting part. By the way, 0 to 60 in less than 1 second, that means that you're reaching close to 3 Gs. I don't think that's the best and smartest thing to do for people driving on the road. But then again, this might be just a very, very limited edition Tesla Roadster with some software upgrades. Remains to be seen. Up next, we've got some great news for Ford EV owners and Rivian EV owners as well, although Rivian will have access to the supercharger network, I believe, starting in March or late March, something like that. But here we have a tweet from Jim Farley saying, I'm proud Ford is first to offer our customers this access with Tesla superchargers added to the Ford Blue Oval Charge network. It more than doubles the fast chargers available to them. Paired with plug and charge, no other apps are needed to start a charge. By the way, if you're currently an owner of a Mach-E Ford 150 Lightning, do make sure to ask for that adapter, because I do believe that in a couple of months that will cost you $230. That's great news. That's great news for the EV industry. Those companies working together to make sure that your road trips, your fears are being addressed. So the more of these superchargers, the more of these charging stations that get opened to other manufacturers, the better it is. By the way, if you're watching Jerry Rig Everything's channel, he tested it out. And for non-Tesla EVs charging at Tesla Supercharger, you're going to pay 30% more than Tesla owners. Good piece of business for Tesla, if you ask me. Now, moving on to some more positive news, came from RBC Capital. They say here that the Tesla Megapack business could be worth substantially more than the car business. Remember, Elon Musk himself said the energy side of things could be as big, if not bigger, than the automotive part of Tesla, but I don't think he included autonomy in that. So RBC Capital, which has an outperform rating and a $297 price target on Tesla, said that the Elon Musk-led company believes the world needs at least 2 terawatt-hour of annual battery storage at scale, which analysts assume will be reached around 2040. This could yield $600 billion in annual industry revenue. A 15% market share could mean at least $90 billion in Tesla-specific battery storage revenue. Applying a 15 times cap goods EBITDA multiple results in a $345 billion EV for enterprise value for Tesla's Megapack business, and discounting this back to 2024 from 2040 results in a $120 billion valuation. I know we've been talking about battery storage. A lot of people have been talking about that as well. Chinese companies are very competitive with their pricing with regards to that. Remains to be seen, is it a race to the bottom? Is it not a race to the bottom? Is the software side going to be a crucial part? In my opinion, yes. And then last thing here, with regards to autonomy, great news for Waymo. So state regulators say Waymo can expand its driverless ride-hailing operations to the peninsula and Los Angeles, marking a massive commercial expansion that launched last year in San Francisco, which I believe could mean that you could get to the airport in a driverless vehicle. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's pretty cool. Moving on to the graph here, we've got a green week, so that's great. RSI still low/neutral-ish, but it does seem like we're getting some momentum back after we tested that $180 mark a couple of weeks ago. We now did end the week above the 20-day moving average, which sits at around $196. The 50-day moving one sits at $208, and the 200-day moving average sits at $224. So maybe next week we could challenge the 50-day moving average. Let's see if we got some rejection or if we can finish next week above that as well and continue our momentum, especially when you look at the RSI here. So overall, to conclude, another quite eventful week for Tesla, for EVs as a whole. I think it's still going to be quite a long year. Stock will go up, stock will go down. Right now, yes, the market has started the year quite strong. So don't be surprised if suddenly we get a week where the market doesn't do much, where the market is mainly red, etc., etc. These things happen. With regards to Tesla specifically, I do still think that its best days are ahead. So if we can accumulate shares at cheaper prices, so be it. Of course, do share your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.